Your life didn't start the day you were born. It started the first moment you felt that something inside you was wrong, incomplete, or missing. That quiet discomfort you never managed to explain. That strange pressure in your chest when you tried to fit into places that were never meant to hold you. That loneliness you felt even when you were surrounded by people. That question you heard inside your mind that you never had the courage to answer. Is this really who I am? You tried to silence it. You tried to drown it. You tried to pretend it wasn't there. But no matter how many times you ran, it always came back. That voice, that whisper, that feeling. It wasn't anxiety. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't weakness. It was your future self calling you, trying to reach you, trying to send you a message you've ignored for far too long. And it's not a message that comes from your mind. It comes from deeper. It comes from the part of you that already knows what you haven't lived yet. The part of you that already walked through everything you're afraid to face. The part of you that already became everything you hoped to be. And now, in this exact moment, it's trying to speak to you again. Not with words, but with signs. Signs you've been brushing aside your whole life. The people who suddenly left. The doors that closed right when you wanted them open. The opportunities that felt perfect but slipped away as if something was protecting you from what you couldn't see. The coincidences that were too precise to be random. The dreams that felt too real to ignore. The sudden intuition that told you to go left when everyone else was going right. Every one of those moments was not life happening to you. It was your future self guiding you, pulling you, calling you, asking you to rise, asking you to stop living as the smaller version of yourself, asking you to break the pattern you keep repeating, asking you to stop betraying your own soul just to feel safe for another day. But the truth is, you weren't ready to hear that message before. You weren't ready to see what needed to fall apart. You weren't ready to face the pain that was protecting your purpose. You weren't ready to let go of the people you outgrew. You weren't ready to leave the self you built just to survive. And your future self knew that. That's why the message waited. That's why the signs repeated. That's why the same lessons came in different faces. Your future self wasn't punishing you. It was preparing you. Because every moment you felt lost was actually a redirection. Every moment you felt abandoned was actually protection. Every moment you felt broken was actually the beginning of becoming whole. And now, for the first time, you are finally in the right place at the right moment, with the right awareness, to hear what you've been avoiding. Your future self is not far away. It's standing right beside you. It's the light you feel but can't explain. It's the courage that appears out of nowhere right before you give up. It's the voice that keeps telling you, you were made for more. And today, something inside you is awakening. Maybe you don't understand why. Maybe you feel pressure in your chest. Maybe you feel something opening that you can't describe. Maybe you feel tears without sadness. Maybe you feel a warmth inside your body. This is not emotion. This is alignment. This is your future self finally being heard. This is your destiny catching up with you. This is the moment where the version of you that has been waiting for you finally says, I need you to listen now. You weren't meant to be who you became when you were hurt. You weren't meant to stay where you feel small. You weren't meant to spend your life trying to earn love or hide your truth. You weren't meant to shrink so others feel comfortable. And deep inside, you've always known it. That's why you've never felt truly at home in the life you've been living. Because it wasn't yours. It was a version of life built on fear, survival, memory, and pain. But the life your future self is trying to show you is built on purpose, truth, expansion, and courage. And the only reason this message is reaching you now is because a part of you is finally strong enough to receive it. There are moments in life that don't feel like choices. They feel like destiny tapping your shoulder. This is one of them. If you feel something inside you stirring, rising, expanding, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't second-guess it. Don't let your mind explain it away. This is the beginning of a conversation between who you were and who you are becoming. And what comes next will depend on only one thing: your ability to listen to the version of you that already knows the way. The message is coming, and the fact that you're still here, listening, feeling something you can't describe, is the proof that the message is meant for you, and you alone. Your future self has been trying to reach you in ways you never understood, not through loud signs, but through the quiet moments you always felt, but ignored. The way your chest tightened when you walked into a place that wasn't for you, the sudden heaviness you felt around people who drained your soul, the strange feeling of déjà vu that made you stop and wonder if you had been there before. Not in this life, but in the one you were meant to live. The nights where your mind refused to rest, not because of anxiety, but because your future self was knocking, insisting, whispering, "Wake up, there is more for you." You thought it was stress. You thought it was overthinking, but it was guidance, it was alignment. And now, for the first time in your life, you're finally starting to feel the truth behind it. Every time your heart broke, your future self was clearing space. Every time you failed, it was sharpening you. Every time something ended, it was redirecting you. But you didn't see it then. You couldn't. You were too focused on how much it hurt, on how heavy everything felt, on how lost you were. But your future self saw the entire path. It saw who you were going to become. It saw your strength long before you ever did. It saw the life that was waiting for you, the people you were meant to meet, the opportunities that weren't ready yet, the version of you that needed time to grow. And that version, the stronger, wiser, unbreakable one, has been trying to send you a message that can no longer wait. The truth is, you were never behind. You were never late. You were never lost. You were simply preparing. Every delay had purpose. Every setback had intelligence. Every heartbreak had meaning. Even the things that shattered you were shaping you. Even the moments that made you doubt yourself were teaching you what you needed to rise. And deep inside, you know it. Because despite everything you've been through, you're still here, still breathing, still searching, still feeling something inside you that refuses to die. That spark has survived every disappointment, every rejection, every failure, every night you thought you wouldn't make it. And now that spark is growing, expanding, becoming louder than the fear that used to control you. This is the moment where your future self steps closer. It stands behind you, places a hand on your shoulder and says, "You didn't go through all that for nothing." Something is coming, something bigger than what you lost, something that requires the version of you that pain helped create. A part of you wants to believe it. Another part is scared to trust again, and that's normal. Because you've been conditioned to expect disappointment, to expect abandonment, to expect things to fall apart. But you need to understand one thing: your old self was built around survival. Your future self is built around purpose. And the life you are stepping into requires you to stop thinking like the person who was just trying to survive. You're not that person anymore. You have outgrown the version of you that tolerated chaos, accepted less, and carried weight that was never yours. You have outgrown the people who needed you weak to stay comfortable. You have outgrown the wounds that once defined you. And now that you've outgrown everything that limited you, you're being pushed into the space where your true story begins. You've felt it, that strange sense that something is shifting. You can't explain it, but you know it. The way you look at people has changed. The way you react to pain has changed. The way your intuition speaks has become louder. You're not imagining it. You're evolving. You're moving toward the life that matches the frequency you're finally reaching. And your future self is guiding every step. That's why certain things no longer feel right. That's why certain people suddenly feel distant. That's why old habits don't fit anymore. Your soul is shedding everything that can't follow you into your next chapter. And even if part of you tries to go back, you can't. The door has already closed. Your future self closed it for you, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because if you stayed where you were, you would never become who you're meant to be. You would keep repeating the same cycles. You would keep betraying your own potential, and your future self refuses to let that happen. That's why this message feels heavy. That's why it feels emotional. That's why it feels like something inside you is breaking open. You're not breaking, you're remembering. Remembering the path you were always meant to walk. Remembering the strength you forgot you had. Remembering the purpose you buried under fear. And now the message is clear. Stop running, stop doubting, stop shrinking. I need you to step forward. I need you to trust what you're feeling. I need you to become the person you were always meant to be. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment your real story begins. There comes a moment in your life when the world around you stops making sense, not because everything is falling apart, but because something inside you is waking up. You feel it in ways you can't explain. A quiet discomfort with the familiar, a growing restlessness with the ordinary, a silent rebellion inside your soul that refuses to let you continue living the way you've been living. You start seeing patterns you never noticed before. You start questioning things you always accepted. You start feeling detached from people you used to cling to. And suddenly, everything that felt normal begins to feel wrong. You don't realize it at first, but this is the exact moment when your future self steps closer than ever. It starts sending the strongest signals. Signals that shake you, confuse you, pull you, stretch you, and force you to feel emotions you've avoided for years. The sadness you felt for no reason. The sudden urge to isolate yourself, the nights where you felt a heavy weight inside your chest, the strange sensation that something was ending even though nothing had changed. These were not breakdowns. They were breakthroughs disguised as endings. Your future self was dismantling the life you built from fear, piece by piece, because that life could never hold who you're becoming. You tried to resist it. You tried to cling to things that were already gone. You tried to make people stay who were never meant to follow you into your next chapter. But the truth is, you can't lose what's not yours. And everything that left had to leave, because your soul has outgrown who you were pretending to be. And now you're being pushed, gently, painfully, purposefully, into the life that has been waiting for you. But you still fight it. You still question it. You still feel guilty for wanting more. You still fear disappointing the version of yourself that only knew how to survive. Listen carefully. Your future self isn't asking you to let go because you're broken. It's asking you to let go because you're finally strong enough to. You feel the pull towards something new, something bigger, something you can't name yet, but can feel in every inch of your body. That pull is real. That pull is ancient. That pull is your destiny trying to align itself with your present. And it won't stop. It won't go away. It won't quiet down, not this time. Because your future self has waited long enough. It watched you stay in places that dimmed your mind. It watched you silence your voice to keep peace that was never real. It watched you settle for love that made you feel invisible. It watched you shrink to fit inside environments that suffocated your spirit. It watched you break yourself into pieces just to hold on to people who never saw your worth. And it hurt. It hurt your future self to watch you betray who you were becoming. But it also knew that the moment would come, the moment where you'd finally feel the truth rising in you like a wave you can't stop. And that moment is now. Something in you has shifted. Something in you refuses to die. Something in you is remembering the path you were always meant to walk. You feel it when you wake up and the world looks slightly different. You feel it in the way your intuition speaks louder than logic. You feel it when your body reacts before your mind understands. You feel it in the strange confidence that appears when you're about to give up. You feel it in the way you suddenly crave peace more than approval. You feel it in the way you no longer tolerate what you once accepted. That's your future self pulling you closer, sinking timelines, breaking illusions, ending cycles, forcing alignment. And alignment is not gentle, it's disruptive. You think you're losing control, but you're actually gaining direction. You think you're falling behind, but you're actually catching up to who you really are. You think you're being pushed into darkness, but you're actually walking toward a version of yourself that shines brighter than anything you've ever known. Your future self isn't trying to rescue you. It's trying to remind you. Remind you that you were never meant to live a small life. Remind you that your sensitivity is not weakness, it's intuition. Remind you that your loneliness is not emptiness, it's recalibration. Remind you that your pain was not punishment, it was preparation. Remind you that everything you lost was clearing the path. Remind you that everything you feared was shaping your strength. Remind you that everything you've been searching for is already inside you. And now, the only thing left is the message. Not the signs, not the hints, not the whispers. The message itself, the message your future self has been trying to deliver for years, and you are closer to hearing it than ever before. The weight in your chest, the tingling in your hands, the pressure behind your eyes, that's not anxiety, that's alignment. That's your old self dissolving. That's your new self stepping in. And once this message reaches you, you will never be the same again. There is a moment in every awakening where the truth becomes too loud to ignore. A moment where your soul stops asking and starts demanding. A moment where every illusion collapses at once and you find yourself standing in the center of a life that no longer feels yours. This moment feels frightening, heavy, overwhelming. But it is the doorway to everything you were afraid to want. You felt that doorway opening, even if you didn't know how to name it. The strange silence inside you. The sudden clarity after years of confusion, the deep exhaustion that didn't come from your body, but from pretending to be who you're not. These were not random, these were invitations from your future self, asking you to finally step into the version of you that life tried to suppress. The version you glimpsed in your dreams, the version you felt during moments of intuition, the version you saw in flashes of courage you didn't understand. That version of you is real, and it's getting closer. You can feel it now, in the way your heart beats differently, in the way your thoughts stretch beyond the limits they used to obey, in the way your emotions surface with a force that scares you. This is not instability, it's expansion. You are outgrowing your old identity faster than your mind can process, and that is why everything feels so intense. Your mind is trying to hold onto a story that your soul has already abandoned. The story where you settle, the story where you hide, the story where you quiet your voice to survive. But your future self is trying to show you a different story. The story of who you were meant to be before life taught you to dim your light. That's why the people who once made sense now feel out of sync with your spirit. That's why the places you used to tolerate now feel suffocating. That's why old desires no longer satisfy you, no matter how hard you try to force yourself to care. You're not losing yourself. You're finally meeting yourself. And this meeting feels strange because you've spent years living as a shadow of your real potential. When light enters a dark room, everything looks unfamiliar at first. That's what's happening inside you. Light is entering. Truth is entering. Awareness is entering. And your future self is the one holding the door open. The message it's trying to send you has been building for years. It's in the moments you thought were coincidences. It's in the opportunities that showed up right when you were ready to quit. It's in the dreams that repeated themselves like echoes of a life you haven't lived yet. It's in the quiet knowing that kept whispering, "There is more for you than this." You ignored it because you were loyal to your pain, loyal to your past, loyal to who you had to become to survive. But survival is not living. And your future self refuses to let you spend the rest of your life trapped in patterns that were only meant to be temporary. So everything you've avoided is rising to the surface now, not to break you, but to free you. The fear you feel is not a warning. It's a signal that your old identity is dissolving. A signal that you're stepping into a reality aligned with your potential. A signal that the life you dreamed of is no longer a fantasy. It's a calling, and callings don't go away. They intensify, they follow you. They find you in the middle of your busiest days and the quietest nights. They haunt you until you finally listen. And you are listening now. Even if you're scared, even if you don't know what comes next, even if the path feels uncertain, listening doesn't require certainty, it requires honesty. The honesty to admit that the life you want is real. The honesty to accept that you deserve more. The honesty to walk away from everything that dims your soul. The honesty to trust what you feel, even when it contradicts what you've been told. Your future self is trying to show you that the life you think is far away is actually closer than you imagine. It's one decision away, one moment of courage away, one whispered yes away. But before you step into it, you need to understand something essential. You cannot bring your old wounds into your new life. You cannot bring the version of you shaped by fear into a future shaped by purpose. You cannot bring your old self with you because your old self was never designed to carry the weight of your destiny. This is why everything feels like it's falling apart. This is why you feel a deep internal pressure. This is why your emotions feel amplified. You are being reborn. And rebirth is not gentle. Rebirth shakes your foundations. Rebirth removes what you cling to. Rebirth forces you to confront everything you've been avoiding. But on the other side of rebirth is clarity, strength, direction, purpose, peace. And your future self is guiding you to that place right now, in this exact moment. This is the transformation your soul has been craving for years, and the message you are about to receive will shift everything. There is a turning point in every story, a moment where the character finally realizes that nothing in their life was random, that every detail was a clue, every failure a direction, every heartbreak a message carrying them toward the person they were meant to become. You are standing in that moment now. You think you're hearing these words just because you clicked on a video, but deep down, you know something else is happening, something bigger, something that feels like recognition, like remembering, like hearing a truth you forgot you once knew. That feeling is not coincidence, it's alignment. It's your future self finally matching frequency with your present. It's the moment where two versions of you, the one you are and the one you're becoming, finally meet in the same place at the same time. And when these two timelines meet, everything in your life begins to shift. The questions you avoided surface, the emotions you suppressed rise. The dreams you abandoned return. You start to feel pulled toward things that scared you, pushed away from things that drained you, and guided toward a path you don't fully understand but somehow trust more than anything you've ever known. This is not instability, it's transformation. You're not losing control, you're regaining direction. And even though your mind is terrified of the unknown, your soul is calm. Because your soul recognizes this moment. It has lived it before. Not in this lifetime, but in the blueprint of who you are meant to become. That blueprint has always existed. The life you came here to live has always been written in you. But for years you ignored the signs. You ignored the intuition. You ignored the inner knowing. You chose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. You chose comfort over growth. You chose silence over truth. And at the time, it wasn't your fault. You didn't have the strength you have now. You didn't have the awareness you have now. You didn't have the clarity you have now. Every version of you served a purpose, even the broken ones, even the lost ones, even the ones you're ashamed of. Your future self holds no resentment toward who you were. It holds gratitude, because without those versions, you would never be ready for what is coming next. And something is coming. You can feel it like a pressure behind your ribs, like electricity under your skin, like a quiet push that won't let you stay still anymore. This is the moment where life begins to rearrange itself around your awakening. People leave not because you're unworthy, but because their part in your story is done. Opportunities fall apart not because you failed, but because they were too small for who you're becoming. Doors close not because you're unlucky, but because you were never meant to walk through them. And the strange part is, the more things fall away, the lighter you feel. The more you say no, the more powerful you become. The more you step back from chaos, the more clearly you hear your intuition. Everything is rearranging itself to prepare you for the message your future self has been trying to deliver for years. And here is that message. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are in transition. You are shedding the identity that kept you safe, so you can step into the identity that will set you free. You are being stretched, not punished, prepared, not rejected, redirected, not abandoned. Every shaking, every uncertainty, every discomfort is your soul expanding into more than your old self was ever meant to hold. That's why you're feeling things so deeply now. Your emotions aren't out of control, they're becoming conscious. Your desires aren't unrealistic, they're revealing your destiny. Your intuition isn't random, it's remembering. Your future self is no longer whispering, it's speaking clearly. And its voice sounds like that sudden courage you felt last week, like that strange peace you felt in the middle of chaos. Like the way your heart told you to walk away even when your mind didn't understand. Your future self has been sending you these signals your whole life, waiting for the moment you'd finally be ready to stop surviving and start becoming. And that moment is now, right now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel prepared, not when the fear disappears. Growth doesn't wait for fear to leave. It moves through fear. It uses fear. It transforms fear. And now fear is no longer a warning. Fear is a compass. When something scares you because it's new, because it's bigger, because it requires a version of you that you're still growing into, that's where you're supposed to go. That's the direction your future self is pointing you toward. And if you listen closely enough, you can almost feel your future self standing behind you, guiding you, repeating the same message with increasing clarity. Trust this. Keep going. Don't turn back. You're closer than you think. Everything you've lived has brought you to this moment. Everything you've felt has prepared you, and the life you are stepping into, it will make every painful chapter worth it. But you must keep listening, because the message is not done. What comes next will change the way you see yourself forever. There is a moment in every awakening when truth becomes heavier than fear, when clarity becomes louder than doubt, and when the life you've been carrying on your shoulders begins to feel too small for the person you're becoming. You're in that moment now, a moment where the world feels unfamiliar, not because it changed, but because you finally opened your eyes. Your future self has been waiting for this exact shift, the moment where you stop seeing life through the lens of your wounds and begin to see it through the eyes of your potential. And when that shift begins, something extraordinary happens. Your soul starts pulling you forward faster than your mind can understand. That tension you feel inside you is not confusion, it's acceleration. You are moving toward a version of yourself that is already living the life you want. And that version of you is calling insistently, urgently, relentlessly. You hear it in the moments when you suddenly feel unexplainably emotional. You hear it when a memory you thought you were done with rises out of nowhere. You hear it in the strange moments of silence where everything inside you feels paused, suspended, waiting for something you can't name. Your future self is rearranging your inner world, removing what no longer belongs, strengthening what was weak, activating what was dormant. You're not falling apart, you're being rewired, you're being built from the inside out. Every piece that breaks inside you is making space for a stronger one. Every thought that dissolves is clearing room for clarity. Every fear that rises is showing you the exact place where you're about to grow. And deep down, you know something is happening, something you can't deny anymore. You feel more aware of your emotions. You feel more sensitive to energy. You feel more drawn to authenticity. You feel less willing to tolerate what drains you. You feel more protective of your peace. These changes didn't come from nowhere. They came from alignment. When your soul starts to align with your purpose, your entire life begins to respond. People sense it. Circumstances shift. The universe feels different around you. It's not magic, it's resonance. You are rising to meet the frequency of the life you were meant to live. And that rise demands one thing, that you stop trying to bring your old identity with you. Your old identity was built around what you had to endure. Your new identity is built around what you were born to create. And this transition, this internal breaking open, is the bridge between the two. You might feel lost, but you're not. You might feel scared, but you're ready. You might feel alone, but you are being guided. The pull you feel is not random. It is the magnetic force of your future self pulling you toward your highest timeline. Look at your life. Look at everything that has been falling away. The friendships that quietly drifted. The relationships you tried desperately to maintain but couldn't save. The environments that once felt normal but now feel suffocating. These aren't coincidences. They are corrections. Your future self is removing what cannot carry the weight of your destiny. Because where you're going, not everyone can follow. Not every habit can stay. Not every belief can survive. You are expanding beyond the boundaries that once defined you, beyond the opinions that shaped you, beyond the expectations that limited you, beyond the trauma that built you. Every time you feel like you're breaking, you are actually stretching into a life that requires a stronger, braver, more conscious version of you. And that version is emerging now. You feel it when you speak truths you used to hide. You feel it when you set boundaries you used to avoid. You feel it when you walk away from chaos without explaining yourself. You feel it when your intuition becomes louder than the noise around you. You feel it when your soul whispers, "You're not the same anymore." And you're not. You have outgrown the version of yourself that lived in survival mode. The version that tolerated disrespect because it feared being alone. The version that accepted less because it didn't believe more was possible. The version that silenced its own needs to keep the peace. That version of you served its purpose, but its purpose is complete. Now the door to your next chapter is open, and you are standing right at the threshold. Your future self is waiting on the other side, holding everything you've prayed for, everything you've dreamed about, everything you've denied yourself because you were too afraid to want it. And that future self is telling you something that will shape the rest of your life. You're not meant to stay here, you're meant to step through. But stepping through requires trust. Trust in the unknown, trust in your intuition. Trust in the version of you that is calling you forward. And trust is not the absence of fear. Trust is choosing to move even while fear holds your hand. That's what your future self needs from you now. Not perfection, not certainty, not readiness, just willingness. Willingness to release the past. Willingness to let life shift, willingness to believe you're meant for more, because you are, you always have been, and deep inside, you've always known it. The message your future self has been trying to send you your whole life is almost here, and the moment you hear it, everything will change. There is something you need to understand before this message ends, something your soul has been waiting to hear your entire life, something your future self has been trying to deliver through every sign, every intuition, every shift, every ending, every moment of pain you survived. And that truth is this: you were never meant to live the life you settled for. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to silence your greatness just to fit into a world that feared your light. You were never meant to carry burdens that were never yours. You were never meant to walk paths built from fear instead of purpose. Deep inside, you always knew this. You felt it in the moments you tried to convince yourself you were okay, while something inside you screamed for more. You felt it when you forced yourself into environments your spirit rejected. You felt it when you tried to hold on to people your intuition was begging you to let go. You felt it when your heart whispered, "This is not your life. This is not your final form." And for years, you tried to silence that knowing. You tried to numb it, bury it, outrun it. But you can't outrun what's written in your soul. You can distract yourself for a while. You can pretend you don't feel it. You can hide behind routine and responsibility. But destiny has patience. It waits. And when you're finally ready, or when life forces you to be, destiny pushes itself into your awareness so loudly that you can no longer pretend you don't hear it. That is what has been happening inside you. That pressure in your chest, that sudden clarity, that strange emotional release, that sense that something is ending and beginning at the same time. This is your future self, tearing down the walls around your potential. This is the moment where the person you were meets the person you're meant to be. And that meeting is never gentle. It shakes everything. It dissolves identities. It collapses timelines. It forces truth to the surface. You might think you're breaking, but what's breaking is the illusion of who you thought you had to be. The real you is emerging from underneath it all. The you that knows what you're capable of. The you that isn't afraid to want more. The you that refuses to settle for half-lived dreams. The you that moves with intention instead of fear. The you that trusts the path even when it's dark. Listen closely. Your future self is speaking now. The message is clear, direct, undeniable. Stop living a life that does not belong to you. You weren't created to repeat cycles. You weren't created to feel empty. You weren't created to apologize for your power. You weren't created to carry everyone else's expectations. You weren't created to be the background character in your own story. You were created to rise, to expand, to take up space, to redefine yourself, to create a life that reflects the truth of your soul. Everything you've gone through, the heartbreaks, the losses, the disappointments, the nights you cried alone, the moments you felt forgotten, every piece of it was preparing you for this exact awakening. Not to punish you, not to weaken you, but to break open the strength you didn't know you had, to awaken a deeper intelligence inside you, to sharpen your intuition, to direct your path, to remind you that you came here with a purpose far greater than anything you've lived so far. And now, after everything you've survived, you are finally ready to hear the message, ready to receive the truth, ready to rise into the life waiting for you. Your future self is reaching for you right now, guiding you, protecting you, pushing you toward a destiny that requires a version of you that you are just now beginning to embody. You don't need to see the whole path. You don't need to understand every step. You don't need to have every answer. All you need is one thing: the courage to not go back. Not back to the old version of yourself, not back to the environments that drained your spirit, not back to the people who only loved you when you dimmed your light, not back to the habits that kept you numb, not back to the identity built from fear. Your future self is saying, forward, only forward, always forward, because everything you want, the peace, the clarity, the purpose, the inner strength, the opportunities, the relationships aligned with your soul, everything exists ahead of you, never behind you. And now you feel it, the shift, the awakening, the remembering. Your heart beats differently, your mind sees differently, your soul knows differently. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not who you were last year. You are not who you were before this moment. Something inside you has awakened, and once awakened, it can never be undone. You can try to return to the old version of yourself, but it will feel too small, too tight, too heavy, too false, because that version of you no longer exists. You are stepping into the timeline you were always meant to inhabit, the timeline where you don't chase, you attract. Where you don't beg, you choose. Where you don't fear, you trust. Where you don't hide, you rise. Where you don't shrink, you expand. Where you don't question your worth, you embody it. And here is the final message your future self needs you to hear, the message that will shape the rest of your life. You are ready, you are worthy, and your future begins now. Not someday, not when life feels perfect, not when fear disappears. Now, right now. Take one breath. Feel your chest expand. Feel your soul recognize the truth. Feel your future self standing behind you, guiding you, whispering, "I've been waiting for you. Let's begin."